Hey, good morning, you all. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. It's a little rainy morning out here, and I decided I'd do a little blacksmithing video here for a fella by the name of Mark Hamill. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Mark. Mark asked me how to make an eye in cold material without heating it up, and show him how to do it after you heat it up. So, Mark, I'm going to try to show you that in this video. I think I told you in the email, anything above 1/4 of an inch is going to do a lot of stress to a piece of metal when you're, especially if you're trying to bend it into a 90 or in an eye or something. Try to show you what you want to see in this video, okay, and talk to you about it. Now, we'll tell you all this about forging. You know, cold forging stuff really does put a lot of stress on a piece of metal. The fibers will break apart. You know, when you bend something, you're actually forcing stuff together and pulling it apart at the same time. So without heating it up, it does put a lot of stress on it. And I really don't recommend doing that kind of stuff if you're going to, you know, use that particular item for something that you're going to hang heavy things on, because it could break on you, okay? But anyway, you see I've got a forge right here going. That's one way to do it. Another way to do this, you all, is just simply take a propane torch and heat it up, cherry red, and bend it that way. Alright. Another way to do it is, if you don't have a forge, is just take a charcoal grill. Depending on how much work you're going to do, take your charcoal grill, heap up a good pile of charcoal in it, get the charcoal good and cherry red, stick your piece of metal in there and heat it up that way. It takes a little bit longer, but it works. Another way you can do it is like I used to do in the old days. Simply build you a nice, big, heavy, high-peaked campfire. Let that thing burn down to coals, stick your piece of metal in there, and work it that way. In other words, you're not going to blow oxygen into it. You're just going to stick it in the fire, in the red-hot coals, and let it heat up slowly. Works really good. So with that, let me get a piece of metal out here and I'll show you, Mark, what I'm talking about. Depending on what size you want that thing to be. Okay. Now we've got that shape, and you wanted to know how to make it really a really tight eye in that thing. So let's bend this back just a little bit in that direction. Then we're going to take us a rod, depending on what size we want this to be, and bend this cold around it, okay? Now I could force it around this right here, but then I won't be able to get it off of there. This is a bending jig, and it's just, they're made and designed for the size of eye that you're trying to turn out. So you wanted a small one. That's like a 1/2 inch right there. It's the littlest one I've got. So let's do something right here. What we're going to do now is we're going to cut part of this off. Just first of all, we got that loop there, and we want to make this into this particular size right here. So take another piece of metal the size that you want that hole to be. Doing this cold is more difficult. There's no question about it. And the more that you do it that way, the more you're going to put stress right here. And you need to look at that when you're doing it. Now this is just 1/4 inch soft metal right here, okay? Hope you can see that, Mark. But that's how you do it. Now you simply straighten it up and turn it in whichever direction you want to turn it, according to whatever other bends you put in your piece of metal. Okay, Mark, here's another little invention that you can invent. Now this one, you all, is made more for hot material and really thin stuff. I designed this one right here to make S hooks for my trap line. Alright, so I'm going to show you just exactly how it works here just in a minute. Okay, I've got this designed, you all, for this particular size of metal, this direction, see, this space right here. Alright. See how perfectly it made that circle? It's for this size. Okay. Now you can make it smaller. You can make it 1/4 of an inch if you want to, but you got to have your metal hot. Let me do that again so you can see it again. Like I said there, Mark, I designed this thing right here so that I can make S hooks for the trap line, okay, extensions. See that right there? So now all I got to do to make a S hook out of it is cut it off right here and bend it together. It's as simple as that. Or you can actually cut them to length, which is a whole lot harder because these things are hard to hold when they're really small. So now all you got to do is just hammer that together right there, and you've got the eye when you do it hot. Now let's forge it hot, and I'll show you how to do it that way. So by far, Mark, the easiest way to do this, and especially if you're going to make multiple ones for an order, you can turn them out. You can turn them out perfect every single time once you get the length down just exactly right. That's the easiest way to do it. Of course, I just added that right in the middle of that, okay? Now let's see what it does cold. Look, over here we're cold. See, it won't hardly move it, but you can do it cold. See there? You can do it cold as well in the 1/4 inch stuff, okay? Anything bigger than that, this right here has to be massive to get it to work. But it will work, but you are putting stress right here on that material. And when you do that, it's a possibility that it's going to break under stress. But this jig right here, you all, is by far a way to do multiple sets of things and get them all the very same way every time, instead of hand forging an eye. Instead of hand forging an eye like this right here, there's no way that you can eyeball them perfect every time. All right, Mark, I hope you learned something from this video. I really do appreciate you asking me to do it. If when I have time to do stuff like that, I will do that for people. And I really do appreciate it. God bless you. That's another tip from your Bland County Survival Man. You all have yourself a wonderful day. So if you take a look at how this is made, Mark, here is the size of your eye that you want. Here is the thickness of your material. Right here. Between your eye and that stop right there. Over here is your other stop, okay? This holds it in place. Now can you do this cold? I've done lots of them cold, but I like to do them hot because it just makes a better eye. That's how it's made. You can see what it's doing. You can see what it's doing. This is staying stationary. This is just traveling your piece of material around it. Just like that right there.